YouTube unsubscribes people with every movie that I upload. So be sure to check to see if you're still subscribed, like, and donate at freeourworld.org. Yeah, so one thing to watch out for as a targeted individual is when Satan pours it on. So he'll do one thing to stress you out, like to challenge you, and you'll get this feeling. But then he'll follow that up with something else, like another stress, like something, and it's always, people coming against you, people being against you, people doing stuff against you, people doing things to trip you up. And so you'll get this, because what it is, he'll pile on that sense of enmity, like you're fighting the world. And he knows, Satan, he's an expert at this by now, doing it for God knows how many thousands of years, piling on the stress on his enemies, the people that he hates, the people that are God's friends, the people that are also, there's also undesirables that he hates as well. That's the other kind of confusing thing you have to get about this, is that there are actually people that are not godly, people that are not God's friends, but they are also Satan's enemies, in that they are blacklisted and targeted for whatever reason. Maybe they pissed off the military or somebody in the military. They take that, the military is like their sacred, warrior thing, and because they're reptilian, it's all about combat, it's all about honor and fighting, and I'm not going to pretend to know the entire reptilian personality, psychosis, but we know something about it. We know something about these reptilians, and they love fighting. And so the warrior class, warriors, and the military are like they're probably their primary sacred institution, besides the spiritual class, or maybe it's all kind of one thing. Who knows? So when you get attacked by one thing, be ready for another follow-up attack. Like when something happens, like just now I was in the Starbucks, and so what happened is, I'll explain briefly. I was so they implemented this new policy at the Starbucks of only allowing you 5 minutes in the bathroom before a light comes on behind the counter. This isn't bullshit. A light comes on behind the counter. Yeah. And starts flashing and that gives a signal for an employee to go and knock on the door. So you're taking a shit, and an employee comes and frickin' knocks on the door because you've been in there for longer than 5 minutes. You're still cleaning your butt, and it's really ridiculous. So I complained about it about 2 months ago, and boy oh boy, since then I am the enemy in that place. They do not like me in that place. Now it's not super bad. They've kept a lid on it because they know that I'll write, because I wrote an email to the company, and I said, look, this is really ridiculous. I mean, come on, you could have women having their day, you could have elderly people that can't take a poop as fast, and just because some transient, their excuse, which is a bullshit excuse, is that transients go in there and commit suicide. I've been going there for over 20 years, and I know that transients are a problem there. It is a problem, but it's not that big of a problem. And there's certainly, not a situation where people are committing suicide in the bathroom very often. Maybe it happened once or twice, but I mean, come on, what they want to do is to put pressure on people like me and other homeless people, even that are decent people, but they don't want, because they know that poor homeless people have no frickin' where else to go. So, and they know that it puts pressure on people like me, who I don't have a shower, so I'm going to be taking a little bit longer to clean up. And anyway, all right, this is really going to be challenging because I'm holding this tripod, which is really heavy, plus my coffee. So I don't know if I could do this, but so just to finish the story, so I pissed off this entire Starbucks, and because what happened was, so they had this 5-minute policy for the restroom, and I complained about it by writing in. And as usual, at the customer service at Starbucks is pretty professional, and they said, yeah, we'll talk to them about it. So I know that they did. And when they talked to him about it, apparently it really... Now, this is one of the things that I've noticed, especially with me. If I complain about anything, and maybe you've noticed this too, but if you make a complaint, then forever the employees there, they don't see you as an enemy. They see you as an extreme enemy. Like, I couldn't believe it. This happened to me many different times. And there's also this Barnes & Noble where I'm at, that it's the only one that's left now because they closed the one in Woodland Hills, so the one in Calabasas is the only one left. It opened up in 1986. And I complained about the coffee there. And it's a whole story in and of itself, but it blew up in my face so bad that the boyfriend of this one female employee that worked there came at her request because she was freaked out by me. And I strained my brain to think, maybe I talked about it too much, or I certainly was very, I'm always very polite, so I knew it wasn't that. I knew it wasn't that I was, rude, or, gosh dang it, but their coffee was, sometimes it was great, and then other times it was really bitter. So I said, gosh, if we can just get some kind of policy that would, you wouldn't get this, because a sit can be really great. This is when I used to drink coffee. I can't drink it anymore, but a sit is really great when you have a great cup of coffee. But when it turns out like black and sour, it blows the whole experience. So I just really wanted to fix it, so I would talk to them about it, but it's like they wouldn't do anything about it. And half the time you'd get a cup of coffee there, instead of it being a delicious cup of coffee, it would be this horrible burn shit that not only was it miserable to drink, but it didn't give you a good high, good caffeine high. And that was half the reason I do it. I know I'm a junkie, but that was the case. But in any case, it blew up in my face so bad that to this day there are some employees that still work there. I think it was like well over like 6-7 years ago. There are still employees that work there that, they hate me, man. Like, I am just the enemy, and it's so weird. So what I think's happening is that Satan uses an incident to embellish upon his servants who have his spirit dwelling in them strongly, that a person who has complained about that situation, or whatever it is that they complain about, is that's an enemy forever. and it's really wild. But what I was going to say about the thing with this recent Starbucks thing, where I told you I complained about the bathroom, and then they talked to the employees. They ended up, guess what they did? Oh, you guess what they did? They added a minute to the time limit. So now in 6 minutes, instead of 5 minutes, 6 minutes before someone knocks on the bloody door when you're in the middle of taking a shit. Unbelievable, man. So, because see, the thing is, that's a lot of where I go for the morning crap, especially during summer. Because, well, that whole explanation gets complicated. But when you live in your RV, there's all kinds of things that you have to deal with. And there's some things that are a lot easier in winter, let me tell you. Because the heat makes things unlivable in certain respects. So as I said, when I complained about that, and they wrote in, and the manager clearly was informed. And I was very nice about it. I said, hey, I don't blame the person who was knocking on the door. I know that's your policy. She was actually very nice, because I freaked out a little bit. I think one of the reasons why this went really particularly bad for me is that I thought somebody was screwing with me at this Starbucks by knocking on the door. I thought it was like some sort of, because already, see, that's one of the problems of being a TI. This shit mounts up as stress in your mind. And so you start thinking that everybody's out to screw with you, when in fact, this was a policy that they had established there. So I had pre-decided that the next time this bitch knocks on the door, I'm gonna stand up and say, yeah, well, who the hell are you doing this? Confront her, but not screaming and shouting in the store, but well, what the heck are you doing? So I did. She knocked on the door the second time I was there, and I got up and I went to the door and opened. And I said, what's going on here? And she says, well, I'm not really explaining anything very well. Not explaining that's a fucking policy. So I say to her, well, I'm going to report your behavior. Because I she's like kind of like mumbling, like, what the fuck, and she's fucking knocking. And I've been going to this, like I said, the Starbucks for the same 20 years, never got this crap. Got some other crap, but not this, in the freaking bathroom, which for me, it usually takes about 13 minutes actually, but now I have to shrink it down, and I can do it if I branch it off into two different parts. Anyway, maybe some people are better at it than I am, but I mean, in order to get things clean, because I don't have a shower, that's the thing. If I had a shower, then, and you were on the road and it's a freaking emergency, then it wouldn't be what it is. But so when I said that, though, when I said, well, I'm going to report your behavior, I didn't shout it, but I said, well, I'm going to report your behavior, and I said it loud enough that the manager heard it. And then then followed up with my email into the central management. It just, everybody got freaked out. It's like, oh, this guy's gonna, oh. And now, like I said, woo boy, the static I got in there, especially when I start eating my apple and nuts, because it's like, oh, and this one guy, I'm gonna go ahead and out him, Isaiah, an employee there named Isaiah. Maybe he's a past life of my favorite prophet. So I'm not gonna make it, but a lot of people, TIs out there watching this are going to be saying, this shit really pisses me off. Somebody giving you a damn dirty look like every day, and it wasn't my fault, because after she explained it, this nice employee, Miss Yams, after she, after I said, I'm going to report, and then she explained, no, see, it's a policy. We have to knock on the door after 5 minutes because, homeless people commit suicide in the restroom. Yeah, right. Come on. So, but anyway, she was nice enough about it, and she did her, good job of being polite under obvious circumstances. I'm sitting there holding my pants up, and I'm saying I'm going to report her. And when she said that, though, when she explained that, I go, oh, I said, oh, I see. Okay, and then I apologized. I said, I'm sorry that I, barked down your throat, but, I thought somebody was messing with me. And she smiled. She got it up to smile. She says, yeah, we, and now, okay, now I understand it's a policy. Okay. But several employees there, including the manager, and I already know this, I'm already, as I said, hated for my spirit in every place, especially like that. If you are a TI or you're a Christian, you know that Starbucks is a satanic hive, and any place that's high-end is a satanic hive. Not all Starbucks are high-end. Some are more than others. I can tell you that for sure, depending on how you get treated. The more high-end, the worse the treatment. And the best thing is to stay as anonymous as you possibly can. Don't be remembered. Don't do anything that's outstanding. Don't... you might think it's a good idea to strike up a friendship and start being friendly and having long talks with employees. No, just be a nobody. That's my advice. I'll just say that works best for me. By the way, there's every TI and every situation is different, so you just have to, judge for yourself and just take whatever information might be useful. So, one of the key points about this is to keep a level head, because what the devils try to do is to get you riled up. They want you to lose your cool and to start yelling at somebody. Like I kind of lost my cool with that lady at the door. If I could do it over again, what I would do was calmly go to the manager and ask if there is an issue or there's a problem like that, and just say, oh, I noticed somebody was knocking on the door a couple of times. But instead, I let the stress of being a TI and all the shit that comes against you kind of piss me off. And it does. That's what they're trying to do, friends. Don't think that they aren't trying to piss you off. I'm telling you right now, they are trying to anger you, okay? They want you to get angry. And that's what happened to me. And so, and by that blow up, I have now, even though like I said, I mean, it's, anybody might have that reaction. Why the heck is somebody knocking on the door? Never got that before. And I don't spend that long, but because I'm not brushing my teeth or anything in the bathroom. I'm telling you, just taking care of the morning business, but when I did that, it created, I think it opened the door for a continued attack where now, even months after that incident, the employees there remember me as the guy who yelled at their fellow employee and then complained into the company and caused their manager to have to modify their policy. And so now, and in addition to the fact that Satan, see, even without anything like that, they wouldn't like me. They won't say hi to me in the morning when I come in. And I know it's not just a part, like you can just say that, it's all that Satan's coming against you, and that is true. But it also, if you look at it from a larger perspective, it's also that God has separated us from the world. So if we were welcome in all these places, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same experience. So I take it as this is part of the experience. But what I would just tell to my friends is, look, and fellow TIs, that targeted individuals, is that, look, expect an attack and expect that your own anger at the attacks is going to be your undoing. Because that's, Satan loves these traps where he gets you. He'll gradually add to the anger, a little attack here, a little attack there. Can't really prove it. You can't really call anybody out, and it just builds and builds and builds. And then he knows that one little incident along the way will cause an explosion. And then once you do explode, like I did, even though it was a pretty controlled explosion, like I said, pretty reasonable, and I don't think that their continued hatred of me at that Starbucks is justified. They'll all come into judgment for that too. But the fact of the matter is that the anger that I had caused me to lose control of the situation, because I already know that the best thing to do is to be as anonymous as possible. Just go in, get out. Don't be known. Don't be familiar with everybody, because they do recognize you. They know you, but you don't want to be on their mind, because I already know that Satan will turn their hearts against me. Okay, so if it's a friend or somebody likes me, it's happened to me a billion times. So now I know, unless they're true friends of God, which when do I ever run into that? Their hearts can be turned against you. So all it takes is one little incident or thing to ignite it, and then bam, you're now when I go into that Starbucks, I'm catching static from 2 or 3 people that are there, and and probably there's some that it doesn't manifest into contempt. But like today, this one lady that was wiping the table, I could just see, and there's a lot of things, by the way, that you can't see as far as behavior, but you can feel it. You can feel that enmity. And as I was sitting there today, boy, I could feel that static. Like, they do not like me. They do not want me sitting in there, because that's their satanic hive. Okay, that's the real reason. That, in my opinion, that's the real reason. That's the real underlying. It's a spiritual issue. They don't want your friend of Jesus Christ ass sitting in there. Love Satan, love and worship and serve Satan, satanic spiritual environment where they all feel comfortable with each other and love each other, and they don't have to put up with someone like me who loves Jesus. So, that's the situation we're in. That's the situation I've been in for my whole life, especially since I turned 20 and became a Christian. So, to me the smart route is to, and the scripture tells us to not do not call out an enemy. Don't declare yourself an enemy of Satan's kingdom, okay, or somebody that's there, because that's only going to invite trouble for you. And God's way is not to rescue you out, send angels, or give you power to overcome them. No, you're going to be at the disadvantage. You're going to be the one who has to bail out of there or put up with a problem, and you have to back away. It's total. You learn total meekness. There's a reason God's doing this, to teach us meekness. And this is, it seems like weak, like, how come we can't fight, and that's going to be in your mind. But understand that God is teaching us that being meek is the way. Notice Jesus was the most powerful man in the universe, but when they threatened him with death, threatened him with stoning, did he shout back at them, "Oh yeah, I dare you to throw a stone"? No. He escaped out of their midst and went around and got out of there. That's what the scripture says. And so that tells us, and we see many other instances of that the satanic, or the enemies of God, the unfaithful, have the physical domination, the worldly domination of the situation. So we have to be humble and meek, and if there is a problem, you just have to back off, back away, whatever, get out of there, and do the best you can to deal with it. And under these circumstances, the wisest thing is to not make a problem, even though somebody may be, in that situation. In a situation with the restroom and the Starbucks, I would have probably in any case written into the company. But I would have kept it anonymous so that the people there wouldn't know it was me. They might have figured it out because I started coming there on a regular basis. But as I said, now, catching that static every time, and it's a convenient place to go because it's a good place. It's a place where I can plug in and get a lot of work done and upload stuff. And a lot of places have a convenient place to sit, but they don't have good internet or they don't have power, and that's always a problem too. And that's one. And also, don't show up at the same place if you can every morning. So if you do, because of if you're living like I do and you need to go into these places, rotate it. So what I do is I rotate it between 3 different Starbucks. Is the only thing that's open early in the morning to plug in and get work done and everything else. I live off of Starbucks. They get a lot of money from me, and there's a problem with them not liking my spirit. But when I rotate it, then they don't see you every single day, and you don't burn out quite as much. But I'm really burned at this one Starbucks. Unfortunately, I wish I could go back and do it again. I wish when that happened, I didn't let the anger and the paranoia of somebody screwing with me get me to, get up off the toilet seat and open the door and say, "Who are you doing this to me?" I didn't yell. I just said, "What's going on?" But nonetheless, the manager heard it. She freaked out. Somebody else freaked out. This one guy named Isaiah gives me, and he's just, fortunately, these folks aren't exactly the brightest tools in the shed. Neither am I, so I don't mean to criticize anybody for being any dumber than I am, but he just totally is obvious, giving me this hateful look, like, totally hates my ass with obvious looks of disdain for my person. But once again, my thought process is, and I'm not fully decided on this, like if I could try to make, I was talking to him the other day, like trying to make a friend out of him, like saying, "Hey, you look like this other guy that worked here, yeah, but I know he hates my ass, but he won't say anything because his job's on the line, and they know that. That's part of the reason why they resent and hate you, because, they wish they could kick your ass out of the store and go, 'Fuck you,' and get the hell out of there," but they can't, because they'll lose their job. And now that I'm loaded with video cameras, I usually have at least 3 different recording devices on me at all times. So, and I will. If something starts up like that, I'll whip that right out and put it right in their face. And say, "Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and take and explain that to me, that position a little further, and get that on the web in any case." The main thing is that you want to keep the peace if you can. Stay anonymous, keep the peace, and God will eventually. It is a matter of faith. Everything that's not done in faith is a sin, the scripture says. So, if you have faith that God is going to justify you in the end. All the people that stood against you in every single moment, all throughout your life, the people that hated you for no good cause, the people that came against you for nothing that you did, they just hated you, they treated you badly, all of those moments will be reconciled. All of the judgment and the payment and those things will all be taken care of. I believe that God has it all. It's all recorded, and every single moment and every single thing is going to be held to account, and there will be a payment, and there will be a recognition, and there will be a moment of revelation to where it's very clear what happened. And just have faith that that moment's going to come. If you're watching this, it's not too late. Say this prayer now. Father in heaven, please save my soul by the work of your Son Jesus on the cross, and show me your pure words in the authorized King James Bible.
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They get a go with the sickness. This is a war on tradition. This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They get a go.